Guatemala is a country filled with so much beauty. But in that beauty is a great amount of poverty. Today, 60% of Guatemalans live in poverty, and 30% live in extreme poverty. Almost 50% of children are malnourished, and 74.5% of the population aged 15 and over is illiterate, making Guatemala the lowest literacy rate in Central America. But even so, Guatemala is ranked the 9th happiest country in the world. That tells me something. That tells me that the people of Guatemala are strong and hopeful individuals who have already overcome so much and are willing and ready to overcome the trials they face on a daily basis. Many Guatemalans fight poverty in the simplest way they know how, by making and selling handicrafts. Today, everything about Guatemalan culture reflects the influences of both Mayan and Spanish cultures, especially when it comes to the handicrafts market. Fair trade is a growing movement that has allowed Guatemalans, along with many other impoverished and oppressed nations, the opportunity to reflect and preserve their cultural identity while also seeking to get out of the poverty they have been in their whole lives. I traveled to Guatemala in the hopes of answering one overarching question. Is fair trade really fair? During my time in Guatemala, I was able to see fair trade in action, not only observe the process of fair trade, but witness how the movement is changing lives. While buying a fair trade bracelet or drinking fair trade coffee, I think it's easy to question how much, if any, change is being made through our efforts in supporting fair trade. But the answer is an overwhelming difference. Fair trade is providing a more sustainable way of working and living, which in turn offers artisans better and safer working environments. To Guatemalans, fair trade means more than just a stable income. It means an opportunity to provide for their families and to allow their children an education and a chance at a life they never had. Through small-scale cooperatives and global markets, fair trade is not only diminishing poverty, but changing social structures for women in Guatemala. With women earning an income, they are respected by their husbands and seen as their equal. In turn, there's less domestic violence and a better support system that continues to change family dynamics and gender roles in Guatemala. Through my experience of being able to get a behind-the-scenes look at the process of fair trade, I was able to see that it all starts with one thing: listening. Artisans who involve themselves in fair trade do not ask for gifts, but instead they ask for work. They do not seek to be handed a better future, but want to work to earn it. Someone told me that this is the shift from poverty to prosperity. That is what makes fair trade so incredibly special, because it isn't charity, but an opportunity to empower oppressed and suffering individuals. I was able to witness how fair trade made leaders out of ordinary people, and how these individuals not only changed themselves, but they changed the lives of their families and the people in the communities. During my time in Guatemala, I continuously asked myself that same question: is fair trade really fair? I think the answer to that question was far more complex than I imagined it would be. It was a question that probably left me with more questions than answers. I found that in my efforts to seek the answer, I was often left confused and frustrated by my contradictory views. And ultimately, I concluded, no, maybe not. Maybe fair trade is not always fair. This is a growing movement with flaws and gaps that people do take advantage of, and I think that is something disheartening. But I also arrived at a more encouraging answer that is yes, fair trade is absolutely fair in changing the lives of people every day. And even if this is an evolving movement, if you knew you could help change the life of even one person just by supporting fair trade, wouldn't you? By supporting the fair trade movement, you are helping the environment, providing a child education, giving someone a home, diminishing domestic violence, creating a safer working environment, alleviating hunger and poverty, changing social structures, saving lives, and listening. Listening to the voices of oppressed people and letting them know that you hear their dreams, letting them know that you share their dreams, and letting them know that despite their past and current circumstances, that their dreams are valid and can come true. And that one day, because of all their hard work, their dreams will become their reality.